Today is Saturday, February 25th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our JABBIC Part 2 for Survivor 44.
JABBIC, judge a book by its cover. Think about it. Just like these 18 castaways, they see each other for the first time. They see others having conversations, although they're not allowed to talk with each other before the game begins, before they get on the beach and Jeff speaks to them, so they're not allowed to talk to each other. So it's all about judging books by their covers. They're sussing people out, trying to figure out, oh, maybe I could work with this person because I think they're fill in the blank. Who else does that? We do. Survivor Fans Podcast. We do the exact same thing. We go through the same motions the castaways do.
Though luckily we get a tidge more information.
Yes,
than
we
they
do.
get.
Yes, yeah. We get to see them from a distance, outside of those conditions, and we get to see them as a whole, where they may not have the opportunity to observe everyone.
Yeah, we get to hear a little bit of a video and a little bit of interviews, and so gives you a little bit more than they get just from looking at each other.
I've often thought I would just be majorly scoping people out, every little thing I could get if I ever made it out there.
Oh, you know they do. They talk about doing that.
Yeah.
They've already formed opinions before they even get there on the beach.
Yeah.
Before they even know who they're going to be with.
So it's not, who's on what tribe, right?
Exactly.
Before they get loaded in the boats and find out. Although I imagine they probably get some clues, at least the morning of, because they're told what to wear that has similar colors. Something along that. Anyway, just similar to what they go through, we go through that too, and it helps us start to sort everybody out. That's kind of been the number one thing.
Yes, to learn the cast.
Before we started the podcast back in 2005, we would often spend a quarter, maybe even a half of a season not knowing who some of the people were, right? It was common for us to get confused, especially
I'm still
because
stuck on 2005.
Yeah, especially because they were so big on the archetypes. The diversity initiative has shifted that a little bit. They're still the same kind of archetypes. I think they're coming through the game, and we'll talk more about that as we get into the season and learn more about these folks. But it would just be really difficult to keep people sorted because we would only think about it that one time a week when we watched for an hour on Thursday night, because that's when it was on back then. And we wanted a head start so that we could at least be able to say who did what in an episode when we were doing a recap.
For us, it makes it so much easier and so much more fun.
Not that we get it completely down beforehand.
No.
I've looked at a commercial so far, and I saw one person. I thought, oh, that must be the dream team. That can't possibly be someone in this cast.
Honey?
Yeah.
No.
Way to beat. And then you see...
You see Josh there?
Yeah. So,
we're still debating. He thinks it's Claire. I think it's Heidi. So, it's Heidi.
Okay. Anyway, it became about that, and we started the podcast, and then people started contributing listener feedback and getting in on it with us, and we built this wonderful community. We thought that's a great way to kick off the season. We'll get together just before the season kicks off, and we'll give our first impressions, and they are quite often hilariously wrong. And yet we keep doing it.
That's okay. It's fun too.
Yeah, because it's part of the process of learning the cast and then sharing. You get to see how someone sees someone else with a limited amount of information.
Well, I've learned a lot about myself and how I react to
Yes.
people and different things, or some little something they say in their bio that sets me off.
Right. And it may not actually even be that person. It may be some PR person who assembled that for them or whatever. But it doesn't stop us from forming opinions and having reactions, right? So we love this time before the season kicks off so that we can, one, it gets us ramped back up, start learning the cast, and we all come back together and share. Last weekend on Saturday, Joanne and I shared our impressions, and Joanne provided some of the extra bio that they give on the castaways. And so we included that, gave you a chance. Some people like to just look at the roster, this wonderful roster Paul's put together for us, and form their opinions off there. And we got all smiles this time, so no one's openly being villainous in their cast photo that gets used in the initial press release.
Well, it excites me to kind of get an image in my brain of who I think they are, and then find out who they really are when you see them on the show.
And even before that,
sometimes it's similar.
Find out what other super fans saw
yes.
when they looked at them, which is really what today's
From
about.
Their perspective.
So today we hand the reins over to the other super fans and let them weigh in. We got how many?
17.
Great turnout for a JABBIC.
Yes.
So for people to take time out of their busy life to put together their impressions and share them, we're so grateful for this, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you. And stay tuned. We got a special treat that's associated with our fantasy league, more specifically the side challenge. At the end of the episode, someone's got a song they owe us.
They got to perform.
Yeah, and so we've got that all queued up and ready to go once we get through the assessments by the other super fans. Anything else you want to add before we get to it?
Just that the music we played was On the Grill by Madsumo.
Madsumo. That's a tradition for our JABBIC shows, because we're putting the castaways on the grill, toasting them, roasting them, flipping them.
Man.
And
to me, that always says, we're back.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. Okay.
It's on the grill. We must be back.
There we go. Let's kick it off with a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, baby, it's been too long. A new year, ready for Survivor 44. Woo! Woo! One more week, baby. So let me dig into it, guys. I'll be super quick with this cast. I gotta start out with the biggest name here, Yam Yam, or Jam Jam, as he's called. I think that guy's going to be hilarious. He's going to be a big character. He might be a villain, a sneaky villain. I don't know that he could win, but I could see him making it deep into the merge. That guy. Now, for the other ones on the purple team there, Carson, I like Carson. He seems young, athletic, enthusiastic, but he's just young. I don't think he'll make it far. Helen, I think, could be a good strategist. Bruce, I think, I agree with what you said, Stacy. He might be seen as like a rocks boy, bossy, and not that likable. He might be the first one out on that team, and I think he's the oldest one, too. And then Sarah, I think she could be good. She might be a little bit of a sneak there. When I look at her, she almost reminds me of Gabby from what was it, David vs. Goliath a little bit for some reason. I think she'll be all right. And I like Carolyn. I think she'll be good, too, if she's not a diva. We'll see. Let's see, the green team. Matt Blankenship, he looks like someone from one of those creepy horror movies, like Albert Einstein or Summer Frankenstein. I don't know, his voice scares me. I don't know that he'll make it far. Not crazy of him. Heidi, I like what she's representing. She's the one I think that brought up Sandra, how she won twice. I think she could sneak in and make it deep in the game. Danny Messa, what's that, the firefighter there? I like him. I think he could add a good attitude there and be strong. Franny, for some reason, it annoyed me. I'm hoping she's a pre-merge. Claire, too. Claire seems a little bit snobby and whiny. I don't know. I wasn't, even though she's from New York, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of her. And then Josh, I don't know. I'm worried for him. I'm worried he might be the medical person, because based on what I read on his bio and hearing your podcast, or it could be that Bruce guy, too. We'll see. Worried for Josh, though. And then the orange team, real quick, Jamie, and Maddie, they seem okay. I like some of the girls there. Lauren Hop, I like her. Not a fan of Matthew. I mean, that guy I think might be a pre-merge boot, too, along with Kane. I don't know, him and Kane I feel like don't mesh well, even though they seem like they're strong. And Matt, what's he think? He's Cody or Ozzy falling down the cliff there? Oh, hopefully it's not a serious injury he gets. And the football player that Brandyn caught him, I think he'll be likable. He'll make it to the merge for strength, but then they may get rid of him then. But overall, guys, I like the solid cast. My favorite is clearly going to be Jam there. He's going to be entertaining for sure. And I'm curious to see, guys, how this new twist is with the bird cage. I think that adds another element to it compared to the Beware advantages, the legacy ones, and the shot in the dark that seem to not work good at all. Hopefully, guys are better precise and better at keeping secrets, guys. We can only hope, but I can't wait for this new season next week. Let's go, baby. Woo!
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing somebody play that can keep a secret. I'm hoping that since this crew got to see...
That's going to be imperative for the cage idol to work.
Yeah, and also really difficult to pull off. So, yeah, I'm hoping that one works out. We'll see. It's certainly something to look forward to.
Someone can do it.
We'll see. All right. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada with my official JABBIC predictions for Season 44. I'm going to make this quick and dirty as I haven't had a ton of time to prepare remarks here, but I did get a chance to go through a lot of the contestant bios and watch some of the videos, and I'll give you my first impressions of some of them and which ones I think are going to go far in the game and which ones should have probably just stayed home and gone camping instead. I really like Brandyn. I think he's going to do really well in the game. He's got the physical attributes to make it far and win challenges, and I think he's got a really good attitude as well, so I could see him going far. Whether someone as physical as him can make it to the end of the game, I'm not sure. Of course, we got the Canadian playing this season, and unfortunately, though, he's very reminiscent of Daniel the Skunk, so I'm not sure how far he's going to go, but I am going to root for him anyway, just because he's a Canadian, so I think he'll make it decently far in the game, but I don't see him winning. With Danny, it's hard not to gravitate towards firefighters. It's easy to like them. They know the value of hard work, and they command respect, and I think Danny's going to do well in the game. I think Helen will probably do well in the game. I don't know if she'll be able to do a repeat of Erica's game and win. I think that'll be tough. I think Yam Yam's going to come across as very likable and physical enough to do well. I'm curious to see if he's got the strategic game to get far. And I really like Sarah as well. She seems smart and fit, and I'm kind of leaning towards her as my USB potentially, but I haven't decided anything yet. And then there's also Carson. I'm not sure whether or not he's a Christian Hubicki. He's definitely got the intelligence and I think the physical prowess to do well in the game, but I'm a little bit unsure whether or not he's going to be, likable and be able to connect with people. I also think Franny, she was one of the people I thought off the bat might do well in the game. I think if she can keep her sort of franticness down and maybe mention the whole zesty thing a lot less, I think she could actually do well. And much like you guys, I was a little bit confused about Bruce. Like, when I saw his smile, he just seemed like somebody that would do well in the game, just judging a book by its cover, but I'm a little bit mixed on him. He might be like a Roxroy, or he might be more like a Jeremy. As far as first boots go, the three people I think that may be the first boot in the game are Carolyn, Heidi, or Lauren. So I'm going to end up picking one of those as my first boot, I think. But anyway, it looks like it's going to be a great season, and I enjoyed listening to your guys' JABBIC predictions, and I look forward to hearing everyone else's. And yes, I'll be in the side challenge, so count me in. Anyway, that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. I think there's something different about the 26-day cycle. For whatever reason, we've seen the big physical threats be able to hang on longer. They weren't sort of immediately targeted at the merge for whatever reason. And I guess it's just a strong alliance, but, with 41, we saw how good Danny did. And with 43, we saw, I get them mixed up, 42. With 42, we saw how Jonathan was incredible and made it all the way to the end and broke all kinds of records along the way. Again, maybe that's just the benefit of an alliance that didn't want to be without that alliance partner more than anything. I haven't figured it out yet, but it seems like there's something different about the 26-day season that's had them favor physical threats more.
Yeah, because we kept thinking, oh, they didn't get rid of the big people, the strong big. And that's not been happening as much, so.
Yeah, so there's definitely a chance for Brandyn, and depending on how things play out for Bruce too, likewise for Josh and Danny, they're, the more physically present, and likewise for Lauren, and I think Sarah's going to be a big threat also. I don't know that there's not like the physical beast for the women in the Green tribe that's going to be like a standout. Anyway, that's definitely something that's
well, Carolyn looked like she was pretty gung-ho in that mud.
Definitely gung-ho. I don't know if she's like the physical beast type, but yeah. Not like, how Lindsay was against Jonathan, with Jonathan, and then against Jonathan.
Yeah, there are not as many Lindsays.
Yeah, she was phenomenal.
She's another Stephanie LaGrossa.
Yeah.
Lindsay was.
Mm-hmm. And Jam Jam. He might be our first giggle villain. He might giggle his way to villainy.
Yeah,
It's that dark side that you picked up on in that interview.
I definitely think he's got that side, and that he knows how to be nasty and devious and all of those things. I think he can.
He's going to be working the angles and giggling and laughing the whole way and entertaining. Thanks, Robert. I enjoyed that. Next up, we got a quick call from Chris in Alabama.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. I am looking forward to this season for the first time in a long time. I just heard the JABBIC show, and I've got about 20 minutes to get my comments in. I don't have any comments, so this won't take long. Joanne and Stacy, thank you so much for the JABBIC show. Thank you for this podcast, for this community. I'm not that big on Survivor anymore, but I didn't want to miss out on your wonderful party. Thank you, Paul, for the visual roster. It was very helpful. Thank you, Steve, for doing the JSFL. Thank you, Jeremiah, for the Facebook group. I hope everybody has a great season, and I look forward to hearing your comments. Have a great week.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, Chris.
We're looking forward to hearing more from you as the season goes along. He's usually there cracking us up along the way. Next up, we got an email from Justin in Michigan. Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the super fans. I listened to all the podcasts last season and participated in JSFL and the side challenge, but didn't make the time to call or email in much, if at all, hoping to be being a more active participant this season. Yeah, sounds good. You're off to a great start. I've been reading up on the cast and listening to multiple first impression podcasts about them, and I don't really see many, if any, absolute duds, which is awesome. This cast has some serious gameplay and entertainment potential. My strategy for JSFL this year, and as a general cheering guide, is to make a weekly power rankings list each week. So, of course, I had to make an initial list based on my first impressions and the stories and scenarios I've made up in my head about how the season will go. We know how that feels.
I do that weekly, yes.
My initial power rankings of how I think they will finish are as follows. Winner of Survivor 44, Franny. Okay, you caught me off guard with that one. Franny. Second, Josh. Third, Brandyn. Fourth, Sarah. Fifth, Heidi. Sixth, Matthew. Seventh, Jamie. Eighth, Carson. Ninth, Maddie. 10th, Claire. 11th, Danny. 12th, Matt. 13th, Jam Jam. 14th, Lauren. 15th, Bruce. 16th, Carolyn. 17th, Kane. And first out in 18th place, Helen. This is a combination of how I actually think they will do and who I want to cheer for. Excited to see how wrong I am and listen to the variety of opinions from everyone else. Yeah, that's it. You got it. Thanks, Joanna, Stacy, and everyone else. I'd also like to be in the side challenge again this season. Thank you, Justin. Good job. Enjoyed your power rankings. Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in. Last season, I was traveling quite a bit and did not leave time for me to participate, but I'm back, and I love JABBIC. I'm reminded of how bad a judge I am of character and ability until I really get to know somebody. But this is fun. I used your JABBIC intro last week and the link you provided to the Paramount Press Express to view the 60-second videos of each contestant. It helped me in my JABBIC analysis. Well, here are some general observations. On the Ratu team, you've got your NFL player with Brandyn. He just seems like a really nice guy. And then Jamie is a yogi. I wonder who her boo-boo will be. Most likely, Kane. Lauren's got the biggest head of hair I've ever seen. And Matthew, the barber. Should be fun. Now, on the Soka tribe, you've got the Revenge of the Nerds here. These people are all high achievers, and it just looks like, they're going to have an interesting time of it. I'll just say that. Good thing they have Danny on their team, the firefighter. Who doesn't love the firefighter? Just think back of Mike in season 42. So he's going to be the bronze and saving that team until they get to the merge, and then he's going to be gone. Then for the Tika team, you've got quite a diverse group here. But Carolyn stands out as the mom on vacation, and she'll be one of the early ones to go. Now, my pick for Final Four. This is rather hard, but I'm going to go with 2 from the Soka team and 2 from Tika. I'm going to pick Claire and Heidi from the Soka team. From Tika, Bruce and Helen. For the first person voted out, I'm going to say Josh. Josh or Lauren. We'll have to see. I'll have to hear what everybody else has to say. But in the meantime, looking forward to the season, and I'll talk with you later.
Awesome.
Definitely different from my thoughts.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks, Boother.
All right.
Next up, we got a call from Chris in Minneapolis.
Hi, Joe and Stacy. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling with some of my observations of the new cast. I would say Brandyn has a chance. It does feel like the professional athletes, guys who are kind of like newly retired, feels like they've done well in the game. Mm-hmm. That whole team concept and all that, obviously it gets a little harder after the merge, I feel like, for those guys. But I think Brandon's got a chance. Danny, I think, again, the firefighter, police officer type of guy, and I really like him. He's definitely somebody that I think could go a long way. I think the Canadian factor with Kane, the law degree, probably can talk his way out of some things. I think he's a guy to look for. And then Sarah from my home state, definitely think she's someone that I think has really got a good chance. I really like the vibe she's given off. Yamil, also really like, he seems like a guy that could go a long way after the merge. Seems like he's got a good way about him. I do worry about Josh. Very curious about him being out there. I mean, he could be a wild card. He could be one of those guys where we're like, why is he even out there with given his medical condition? And then he goes a long way. So those are, I think, some of the people that I stand out to me as people who could go a long way. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do. I might have to go with Sarah. I know I'm going to root for her because she's from Minnesota, so I'm kind of leaning that way. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks, Chris. Totally get the Sarah pull.
So many people are choosing my USB.
Yours, huh? You had dibs?
I said it first.
Okay. We might have arranged it that way.
Yeah.
Good deal. Thanks again, Chris. Next up, we got a call from Brandyn.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. This is Brandyn from Indiana. So excited to join you for JABBIC for season 44. Last I talked to you, I was explaining how I was listening to old episodes of the podcast as I binged through old seasons. I had gotten to season 19, and I was not excited for more Russell Hantz. Jokes on me, ended up with a lot more of that. And who thought Brandyn Hantz round 2 was a good idea? Also excited to see Tyson get a victory, but that's enough of the past. I'm up to season 30, by the way, and it's time to jump up to season 44. And so let's judge a book by its cover here. I've decided to tell you the person I think is going to be first out for each tribe. I think everyone will lose a tribe member before the merge happens or before the mix-up, and here's who I think is going to go first for each tribe. First off, let's start with Tika. I think Carolyn is out first for the Tika tribe. I feel like she's got a fun story with her kid and watching Survivor, but I feel like she's just going to clash with the other personalities on the tribe. Helen and Sarah, I think, are just going to want her out. So I think Carolyn is first to go for Tika, but I don't think she's the first to go for the entire season. Ratu, I want to like Kane. I want to root for Kane. I'd love to make him my USB pick in the Survivor Fantasy League, but I feel like he's going to be out first for their tribe. He reminds me a little bit of Seth Rogen's cousin, just
Totally.
by looks. But his attitude, he reminds me a little bit of my own cousins that I enjoy. But the last time I feel like I've felt this way about a Survivor contestant, it was Zane Knight, and that didn't go well. So I feel like Kane is going to be the first out for his tribe. For some reason, I'm just feeling like Matthew's going to be a strong alliance builder, and I feel like Kane's going to be on the outs and just get the bad luck of that. But again, I don't think he's first out for the season. Instead, I think it's going to be the Soka tribe that lose the first immunity challenge and have to go to tribal council. And unfortunately, my gut instinct is just telling me Claire. Initially, I thought Franny, similar to what Stacy was saying as far as frantic Franny. I felt like maybe that would be her, but then I started looking at the other tribe mates. I feel like Matt and Josh, maybe Heidi, are going to be a little bit more accepting of Franny. And so for some reason, I've got this gut instinct. Claire's going to make a mistake early on. She's going to pay for that, and she will be the first voted out of this season of Survivor, unfortunately. So that's who I think is going out in early and first. But who do I think makes the final four? Here's my final four. Matthew the Barber, Sarah, Brandon, and Heidi. I don't know why. I just feel like this is going to happen. Matthew and Brandon will form a tight duo alliance, and then Heidi and Sarah will survive their way through and make it all the way to the final four. And that's my pick. So I'm excited to join the Fantasy League. I still haven't fully registered yet, but I wanted to get in my feedback before the deadline. So excited to listen to the season. Let's have a good one. Bye.
Fantastic.
right.
Good job, Brandon. Glad to have you here. You did great for your first JABBIC. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
Hello, Survivor fans. I hope you all had a nice break between seasons and are ready for this new one to begin. By looking at this cast in full, it seems like we have a very diverse and interesting group of people this time around. Here are my thoughts on how I think each one of them would do. Starting off with the Ratu tribe, I think Brandon, Kane, Lauren, and Matthew will make the merge. I also think Brandon will probably be good with the physical challenges. I don't quite know how Jamie will do. I can see her either being an early out or could go far. Lauren could be quite strategic, and Matthew could be quite helpful and be a nice person out there. But I know nice people don't always last on this show. The next tribe would be Soka, and I think Claire, Danny, Heidi, and Josh will be the castaways to make the merge. Matt could be good at the challenges, but I don't see him making the merge. He kind of reminds me of Brad from season 41. I think Danny could be a fun one to watch, and I get some Cody vibes from him. Lastly, from this tribe, Franny could be entertaining, but I can also see her as maybe being one of the first gone. From Tika, I can see Carolyn being a bit villainous and will have a big personality out there. Bruce will be an early boot. Jam Jam could be another one that would be entertaining, but I don't see him winning. I feel like Carson and Sarah could also do quite well out there, and I think they could make a pretty good alliance if they stick together. As for who I think will win and who may be the first out, I'm still not sure on that, but if I had to take a guess right now, I'd say first out would be Matt, and my USB might end up being Josh. I'm looking forward to getting this season started with you all, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else thinks about this cast. I'm not participating in the side challenge this time, but I will follow along with my score throughout the season, and depending on how I do, I may join next time. All right. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, we'll save you a seat for next time. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joe and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Welcome back. I've always been a fan of Survivor, but it really wasn't until I found your podcast that I became a super fan. I think I told you that during COVID, I re-watched all of the seasons of Survivor that you had your podcast for. And I'd watch the episodes and listen to your comments and what the fans had to say. But it wasn't until season 41 that I actually started playing JSFL. And I listened to your JABBIC episode, and once again, I'm going to play. And let me just say one thing, Joanne. It doesn't help when you make your final 4 picks and your sole survivor. I listen to what you say, go back and review all the qualifications of the players, even knowing full well that as soon as the episode ended, you probably went back and changed your mind about half of those predictions. So once again, I'm going to do it an easy way and play my gay card and predict the winner. So this may be the season that has the most LGBTQ players on it. There's 6, and that means I can eliminate 2/3 of the players. So I focused on the 6 to pick my USB. We've got Yam Yam and Matthew, who seem interchangeable except for race. Both of them are married and have husbands. Both of them run a either barbershop or salon, unless the one was a saloon. I can't remember. Then there's Franny, who Stacy you're already calling Frantic Franny. There's Claire, who identifies as queer, black, and Jewish, a triple threat. Josh, the podiatrist, who is a survivor already. He survived cancer. And then there's Carolyn with the wild blonde hair, who says she's pansexual. And even I'm not sure what that means. But in a video clip, she's rubbing a seashell all over her face. What? So my first choice was Claire, but now I think because of the fact that they saw seasons 41 and 42 and a small female winner came out, Erica and Marianne, I just don't think they're going to do the same thing again. So now I'm going to focus and pick Yam Yam. I don't think he has a kid. Matthew does, so I'm thinking he might take more risks. He seems like a lot of fun, which could probably be his downfall. And speaking of downfalls, I think he's the one that falls off the rock, which might end his season before it even begins. And as a winning strategy and playing the gay card, I picked Ricard season 41, Hi, not Romeo or Lydia in season 42, and Gio, not Carla, in season 43. And you saw where that got me. So, Yam Yam it is. Can't wait to hear what the rest of you guys think. Bye.
Awesome.
All right.
I like your strategy,
not
Dave.
my fault.
Yeah, it's not your fault. He let you off the hook, didn't he? And that's not Jim that falls. That's Matthew. So, like you said, they seem somewhat interchangeable.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
Thanks, David. That was awesome. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know what to do with this guy. I have no idea who I'm gonna pick as a winner yet. I have my 4 favorites, which is Helen, Lauren, Carson, and Matthew. But we already got Matthew falling off of stuff, so that's not a good sign. But overall, I just feel like most of these people are like that kind of character where it's just like, haha, look at them. Aren't they an oddball? That's entertaining, right? And to some people, yeah. But to me, I watch Survivor for the game, not for look at that weird person, you know? And I feel like I just don't know who's going to be like a contender for like a genuine player yet. I'm not getting that from anybody so far. So I don't know. And I know, I have to imagine, you know, they cast people for a reason, so I have to imagine the players are there. And so once the season starts, I'm sure I'll be able to figure that out. But as of now, I'm really worried. I'm worried this is just going to be another messy season. I think Brandyn looks like he'll be rootable, but I don't think he's going to give us, like, he's not going to win. And same with Danny. I think Yam Yam is towing the line between funny and actually annoying. I think Carolyn is annoying. I think Kane, at first glance, I was like, oh, that's Jacob Derwin 2.0. But I think that might have been a little unfair. Actually, listening to him, I think he'll actually do really well. I don't see him winning. Matt Blankenship, he seems really insecure. Listening to him gave me such a weird vibe. I was like, dude, are you okay? So I don't know about Matt. I think that he might, I think he might really struggle out there and go early. Then we got Sarah and Maddie. Honestly, I can't tell these two apart. Sorry. I know one of them quit their job to come on Survivor, so she's impulsive. She's probably going to make very obscure decisions the whole season. I think she'll make it far because of that, because people won't think she'll win, but, you know, that person last season won, so who knows? But yeah, everybody else just kind of falls in the middle ground of like, but I'm looking forward to it because I feel like I think CBS and Jeff are way more excited about this season than they were last season. So with that knowledge, I'm actually looking forward to this season a lot more than 43. But yeah, I just hope it's good because I'm not feeling this cast, unfortunately. But yeah, excited to see what everybody else has to say, and I'll see you guys next time.
Excellent, thanks, Parker. Yeah, we struggled a lot too, trying to find what we thought was a standout.
We have
standouts.
2, 3, 4 people that will kind of jump
Gravitate.
out, and we'll go, oh, this one or that one or that one. But I have people that I like, but as far as winning, I don't think Brandyn can win. I like him. I'm not sure that Danny or Josh could win. They might could, but I like both of them. And I think Matt could be trustworthy. I kind of think people will see him that way. Whether he ends up being or not, I don't know. But
look how far David went in Millennials versus Gen X. Remember David, who was flinching and getting panicked every time someone chopped the wood loudly, and how well he did through the whole season and ended up really shining. So I'm hoping Matt might have a moment like that. But I'm getting a similar read to Parker off of Matt. But that's why I said, well, he could really pull out a surprise win. It could be the growth story of the season or something for him.
Yeah, could be. And I really, so far, have not changed my mind on Sarah, because I was more drawn to her. Because I got almost all the way through. It was her and Jam Jam. Then I was like, oh, okay, maybe Sarah.
Fits the mold, and certainly she's resonating with some other folks as we get through the
I think
super
she's
fans
got what
here.
it takes, but we'll see.
Yeah, thanks again, Parker. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca. Rebecca's on a bus, so she's a little hard to hear.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca, calling not from Northern California, but I'm on a bus going to the North Shore of Oahu with my bicycle to take a little ride by Waimea Bay and Pipeline and all the pretty beaches today. Just finished listening to the podcast, and I feel like Orange is going to be the strongest team and Purple is going to be the weakest team. I really have no idea who to pick as my UFC. Because Yan Yan was the last one you talked about. I kind of have a nice feeling towards him, but I got to go back and look at videos and check it all out. I'm so happy Survivor's back. I'm so happy that podcast is back. And I've taken on quite an endeavor this spring. I went back to school to finish my BA in creative writing. So I've been in Hawaii for 7 weeks with my job, and I'm going to be here for about another month. And I'm just working, going to school online, riding my bike, and now I get to watch Survivor again. Hope you guys are great. Can't wait to do what everybody else has to say and miss everyone's voices. Bye, or aloha.
Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Wow, good luck on getting back to your degree. That's going to be awesome. What better place to do that than in Hawaii, getting to be there for your job and being able to get to experience the island life while you're returning to school for your degree.
Awesome.
What an adventure. Thanks for sharing that. Next up, we got a call from Nicola.
Hello, Survivor family. This is Nicola from Lexington. Hope everybody has enjoyed the off season. We've had some up and down weather here. It's been a little crazy. Jackson has been really getting into his archery and competing in tournaments and stuff. In fact, next weekend we are going to Tennessee to a tournament that he got invited to. So that's been going well for him. He caught up on a little Survivor over the break, but not too much. And we have been watching the Survivor Australia challenges that's on at the moment. That's been a really good season so far. But on to what we're here for, JABBIC. I don't know. I've just looked at Paul's roster. Really, it's the first time I had any visual. I listened to your wonderful podcast, Joanne and Stacy, about the cast the other day, but that was the other day, and I have remembered nothing. But I had a quick look at the roster, and I've got Carolyn, I think. I'm going to put Carolyn as my first out, and I might pick Yamil for my USB just off of the pictures. I'm going to do some more research before I submit my JSFL, so I'm sure that will change. But apart from that, I'm going to jump off of here. I just wanted to get a little bit in to say how much I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's voices again. I don't know that I'm looking forward to the show that much. I'm kind of tired of this format, especially after getting caught up with Australian Survivor again. It just seems, the US version just seems so diluted anymore. Anyway, that's just me, and I hope I will get reinvigorated once it's on. But as always, I will be listening for everybody's voices. I'm so glad we are back to it, if for no other reason than I get to visit with you all once a week. Thanks so much for everything you do, Joanne and Stacy. See you all around the fire. Cheers.
Thanks, Nicola. Great to have you back.
All right, Parker, there's another one for Jam Jam.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100% with Nicola, too, and that's why I purposely, especially for the short break, don't do any Australian Survivor. It's just so overwhelmingly different, the level of commitment they have to it, than the Jeff Probst budget version that we get now.
Maybe this summer.
Yes, when there's more distance, so that I don't, because I did that before. You remember we watched?
Yes, that's when you started calling our Survivor Budget Survivor.
Yes, well, it just is in comparison. Even back when it was 39 days, it's a budget version compared to the 50-day Australian one. But their level of commitment is just off the scale compared to the original American one now. So Jeff's getting all those awards for saving money, but they don't stack up. It's still fun because it's the essence of the game.
I want my Ponderosa back.
Yeah, it's what this group of people decide they're going to value in the course of this game, and how they're going to evaluate each other in that context while they're challenged physically and mentally and socially through these different aspects. So the core of it is still there. The fire burns bright. It's just beyond that. On a balance sheet, they would not compare.
It's like anything else. So let's just take the enjoyment out of it and leave the rest behind.
Okay. Thanks, Nicola. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, I checked my podcast download queue Monday morning, and sitting there, unexpected, was JABBIC Part 1. I felt like Puxatawny Phil on Groundhog Day, being rudely awakened and thrust into the light as I realized that instead of 6 more weeks, I had less than 6 days to do the homework and write my feedback. I'll let the listeners judge whether panic is a proper muse for creativity. My other observations. I considered programming ChatGPT to write my feedback. Oh, okay. I played around with that idea a little bit too. But I decided to save civilization by not teaching it how to instantly generate endless bad dad jokes. Well, thank you. I don't know if you were enough to save us, but let's hope. Fingers crossed. I hope Bruce gets his emotion chip installed before the season begins. Yeah. He's definitely got that. That nothing burger is strong there. Carolyn, like her favorite winner, Marianne, seems to lack an off switch. Yep. The folks at Cliff Notes let me down. They still haven't published an edition for the Season 44 Preseason Bios Interviews podcast. Slackers. Carson is a 20-year-old NASA engineering student. Big deal. Wesley Crusher was piloting the Enterprise at 16. Is it me, or are the producers using create a wrestler mode in their casting? Not only do they reuse the same archetypes and backstories, some of them even look a bit like players from previous seasons. Yeah, they try to simplify things as much as they can, I think. After minutes of research, I decided on my USB, Josh for the win. Hey, what can I say? Soul Survivor Josh has a nice ring to it. It's a little self-reference there, isn't it? Josh. You didn't get that at first, did you?
No, I did not. I was like, okay.
I feel an affinity for Kane. He's from the Great White North, where moose roam. I'm a plush moose who's originally from the North Woods. We're practically related. The producers have a sense of humor. Lauren says she won't eat rats, so they put her on the Ratu tribe, which will have to cannibalize itself if they lose immunity. We've seen players who are super fans. We've seen super duper fans. Now we've got an uber super duper fan. What's next? A supercalifragilistic expialidocious uber super duper fan? I almost made it through that. What could the producers do if everyone shunned the beware advantages? I know, that would be fantastic. I would love to see that. Helen says
they won't.
She has no sense of direction. I hope she's not a caller in a blindfold challenge. With Jeff's love of advantages and twists, it's only a matter of time until every player finds an advantage placed in their bag on day one. Dun, 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 dun. Lastly, they're actually going to come close to that with the birdcage. It's a step in that direction. Lastly, I'm afraid I have some sad news. During the off season, I discovered that our HOA frowns upon keeping equines in our condo, so I'll no longer be asking for a pony. It's the end of an era. Okay, we'll see. We'll see how long you stick to that. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. I can't believe it's time for Survivor 44 already. I really thought that break was going to feel so long, but it flew by.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this cast, so I'm really looking forward to the show starting next week, but also, I'm already worrying about who's going to get voted out early because it's probably going to be somebody I like because I like almost all of them. I guess the smart thing to do would be to choose Kane, the Canadian, as the USB.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm probably going to pick somebody different. Sorry, Kane. Watch, he'll probably win now. Whoever I pick is probably going to get voted out first, so I'm not going to tell you guys. You'll get points ahead of me. Anyway, looking forward to hearing from everybody. Have a great season and a great weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Noelle. You had one job. Just tell us who's first out. Oh, well. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, Survivor fans. It's Jeremiah here once again to give my JABBIC prediction, this time for season 44. So that way at the end of the season, I can go back and realize what an idiot I was and how wrong I was about all these players.
Yep.
So with that said, let me start off by saying that I'm really excited about this cast, mainly for one big reason. Lots of characters. We have some really big, over-the-top characters like Jam Jam and Carolyn, people like that are going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, I feel like that's one thing that's been missing in the new era of Survivors. We only get like one or two, but I think we got 3 or 4 maybe potential people that are going to be extremely entertaining to watch. Now, whether or not they'll be good at the game, that's another story.
Right.
So as I look at this cast, one of the things I ask myself is that since in this new era Survivor, you have to find a cunning player who can play very low under the radar. And I will admit, I really struggled with this cast as far as nailing down who I really think has those right tools to make it all the way and win this thing. I really am struggling with this. But we are here to make those predictions. So let me go ahead and start off by telling everyone who I think is probably not going to make the merge. So on Ratu, I've got Jamie and Maddie not making the merge. On Soku, I've got Franny and Heidi not making the merge. And then finally on the Tika tribe, I've got Carolyn, Carson, and Jam Jam not making the merge, which really hurts me to say that because I want all of these people to make it because I think They just are going to be at least good television, if anything. So hopefully I am absolutely wrong on some of these non-merge people. Now, there is a few players that I feel like have some potential, but did not make my top 4. That would be Brandyn, Matthew, Claire, and Danny. I do think that either one of those 4 would be a decent choice for someone's USB. But for my top 4, I have Josh, Matt, Helen, and Sarah. And yeah, of course I have concerns about those people, but I think those are the 4 right now that I'm kind of leaning towards. As for my winner pick, at the moment right now, I'm leaning towards either Sarah or maybe Josh. But I'm sure my mind will get changed at some point. But that's kind of where I'm leaning towards, one of those 2 players. As far as first out's concerned, I do agree with you guys. The Tika Tribe's probably going to lose a lot. So I'm looking for one of those big characters like Jam Jam or Carolyn to get voted out first. So there's my JABBIC predictions for the season. As always, go ahead and count me in that side challenge, Stacy. And that's going to be it for me. Until next week, this is Jeremiah coming to you from Southern California.
Excellent.
I like that Final Four.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really want to... I keep thinking because Helen's the smallest she could get, voted out just because of her size. But I think she's got a lot going. I think she's a good strategist. I think her and Sarah could work well together and bring Carson in. I think, he would work well with them as well. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to see those 2 girls stick together. That would be awesome. And yeah, I like Josh and Danny or Josh and Matt. That's all good. Mm-hmm. For me.
Or like Jeremiah was saying, Helen fits the profile of someone who could play under the radar, be in the background.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
It could also be what flags her as a threat, too.
Yeah. I was just so afraid she'd get voted out early on before anybody really got to know her if they lose first. And I still haven't decided if I think, because there's a puzzle we think at the end of the, there usually is the first, set of challenges or immunity challenges. And so Carson and Helen, I think, can do well in puzzles.
They just have to get there with enough time to do the work.
Can they physically get the crate there in time for them to do the work?
And if it's a big slide puzzle, do they have the physical strength? Is there going to be...
Oh, I don't know if it's a slide puzzle.
Someone to actually pull that off. Because with the exception of Bruce, there's not a lot of strength.
Yeah. There's not a lot of strength on that tribe, but on Ratu, I don't know if they have anybody who can do the puzzles. So that's what concerned me about. I think one of those 2 tribes will lose. Mm-hmm. But I've not quite decided which one I think it will be.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jeremiah. Gave us a lot to crunch on there. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. And here are my JABBIC predictions for Survivor 44. Right off the bat, looking at Paul's visual roster, everybody looks alike to me. Honestly, I'm going to have a hard time telling people apart in the first few episodes. I know Joanna and Stacy said that you're going to have no trouble picking Carolyn out because they don't have the typical several blondes on the season that they usually do. But this season, I feel like they just kind of overdid it with the brunettes and dark hair. I don't know, I guess it's like a pendulum swinging back and forth. You try to control for one feature and, you end up going overboard on another. Oh well, they all have nice smiles though. Nobody looks really mean or has that I'm going to be the villain frown. On the Ratu tribe, I like Lauren, I like Jamie, I like Brandyn, but I don't think Brandon's going to get anywhere near the end of the game because of his physicality. On the Soku tribe, I like Claire, I like the look of Heidi. I think my USB is going to be a woman. I haven't mentioned the look of a man yet. Oh yeah, Brandyn. Carson, I like Carson on Tika. He looks like Harry Potter. And I think I like the look of Bruce and Helen. That kind of rounds out 3 people on each tribe, I think. Now, I'm trying to remember the things that you said about each of them, Joanna and Stacy. I was very clear on it yesterday when I listened, and now it's all just jumbled. But I do remember that it's Jam Jam, not Yam Yam. Now that's just me going off of their faces. Let me see if I can get some kind of uninformed clarity here. Now, I might be off in left field here, but I think it was Josh you said had this no stomach. And you also mentioned that there was like an IV hanging from something in the jungle. I'm wondering if that's something that's there to kind of mitigate his circumstances. I'm going to find it really fascinating to see how that guy manages himself and his situation out there.
Yes.
I like the fact that Jamie spent some time in corporate America, the business world, but now is a yogi, so she wasn't afraid to kind of change directions. And also I like her strategy of having an alliance of 4. She may end up being my USB in the end. I'm going to put Matthew on the list of people I like. I think it's cool that he's a super fan. And that is just all I got. So in the equivalent of me throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded, I think Jamie, Matthew, Heidi, and Carson are going to be final 4. And I'm going to choose Jamie for the win. All based on next to nothing.
Yep.
I really can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say and hear everyone else's impressions, because I really have very little, even just, I don't know. I'm a little brain dead. I need episode 1. I'm so glad you're back, Joanna and Stacy. I can't wait to hear everyone's voices again and share our love of Survivor, for better or for worse. I'm looking forward to this season most of all because I get to share it with all of you. Till next week. Bye.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jen. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and it's great to be back, but I've got to say that I'm having the same problem I had when I did the JABBIC for the last season. I'm finding it difficult to pick a winner here. But the great difference between seasons 43 and 44 is that this time I actually feel I have too many good choices for USB. A pleasant change for sure. So, okay, let's go for succinct here. Row 1, row 2. Kane and Maddie are my weaker players here, so I have to assume that Maddie could be the first to go on this tribe. I like Brandyn and Matthew a lot. Lauren, wow, that hair. That's certainly a lot of hair, and I cropped out 50% of it to make her face bigger in the picture. Anyways, on to row 2, Soka. Heidi's older and possibly in trouble here, which leads me to believe that she could easily be first out on this tribe. Danny seems like he could be a leader here. I also think that could work against him, though, because he looks like he could possibly place himself in that position rather than being unanimously accepted into it. Alpha male is what I'm trying to say here, I guess. I really have a strong liking towards Claire. A lot, in fact. So, top 3 for her. Am I the only person getting Owen vibes from Matt? They don't look alike, but I'm imagining Matt having the same basic personality. Minus the anger, though, I hope. And finally, there's Tika, whose tribe contains the only player whose name and face I can link together instantly, and that would be Yam Yam. And since his name is listed in the pathetically short bio I read of his, I have to assume that that's the name he answers to. You know, I hate to hold a nickname against someone, and yet I find myself doing it here. Probably because as a kid I knew a grown man who liked to go by the name of Bubbles. Anyway, I like Bruce and Carolyn a lot. First to possibly go on Tika is, Carolyn, because she's the oldest woman. Or Carson, though, because he's young and possibly immature. Maybe? Who knows? So I feel like I'm making a lot of, let's call them un-PC judgments. But there's a definite way that the first episode usually unfolds, and it's hard to ignore repeating patterns. I'm just throwing new faces into the standard Survivor first-off equation. Well, standard for the most part. And what I've mentioned is what I came up with. So top 5 for me would be Brandyn, Lauren, yep, the one with the big hair, Matthew, Claire, Josh, Bruce, and possibly Carolyn. Yeah, I guess I need to work on whittling that down a bit more. And you know, my USB will come from that list, so I'd best start pruning right away. But you know, Carolyn perplexes me, probably because I really want to like her. But to me, she plugs into that Survivor equation far too easily for me to ignore. I am rooting for her, though. And as for the first player to go, I can't help but wonder what the medical emergency will bring to the first episode. But we're talking first voted off, so yeah. Tika looks the weakest to me, only because I don't see much muscle there as I do on the other tribes. So that leaves either Carolyn or Carson. I won't pick now, but remember that I am biased towards Carolyn, so there's that. Okay, everyone enjoy the show. It's great to be back, and thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for doing this yet again. Bye.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. Well, have you gained clarity? Did you have any insights?
It's still rumbling around in there, pondering.
It's got to percolate.
But I have not wavered so far on Sarah. But
there's definitely a strong Sarah vibe through here. She gets mentioned a lot by the other super fans. So probably some Sarah reinforcement in this episode for sure.
Yeah, I will probably go with Tika Tribe losing and first out being, I'm afraid it will be Helen, but I would rather it be Carolyn or Bruce. Though Bruce is so strong, I can't. I think it'll be Bruce, Carolyn, or Yam Yam, or Jam Jam. And but I'm going to say Carolyn.
So your pick for first out is Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Okay.
And if it is Ratu, probably Maddie.
Well, I can't shake that whole Probst calling for medical thing that we got in the preview for this season.
Yeah.
In the finale, during the finale or the after show last season.
Yeah.
And that's just really stuck with me. So I'm not sure that we will have a first vote out in the first episode. I'm thinking that someone's going to go out on a medical. And from looking at it, it just feels like it's Bruce to me. I feel like I've been connecting these weak dots, admittedly weak dots, and that he's going out on a medical. Now, will they do an immunity challenge and have a vote out? Because I guess that would potentially mean they could forego a double elimination.
That was my point that I brought up when you said that was
a double elimination episode later in the season.
Yeah, they could.
So,
and I think they would. I do. I think they will vote somebody out. But now, medical evac, if you choose the person that's medically evacuated, then you don't get a point for that. Just everybody
get voted out.
Remember that you don't get a point for anyone that isn't voted off.
Switching to talking about our fantasy league now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just stuck on that idea. What I can't decide from there is whether or not they'll actually go ahead with a tribal council.
Well, pretend that you know that they are and choose.
Okay. All right. So Bruce goes out on a medical, and then.
Or he does it, and they vote him out.
No, they're not going to vote him out first.
Well, if he had a problem, they would. Or it could be Jam Jam, or we think it's on the purple team, but we don't know anything.
For sure. That's what we can be conclusive about. We don't know anything.
Yeah, that is absolute.
But I still think Tika's going to end up losing. I don't think they're going to have the physicality required. They're going to get blown out by the other two teams who have the physicality and have puzzle solvers, even though Tika could be a strong puzzle-solving team. So I think they could go, if they did go to a tribal council, they could go down 2 in that first 2-hour episode. And if that's the case, I think it's Carolyn. Carolyn or Helen? Carolyn. I'm just going to say Carolyn.
Yeah, I'm more invested in Helen and to want to see what she can do, because I think she'll be a lot more strategic and sneaky.
So if they do lose Bruce, though, they're going to be desperate to preserve strength. Maybe that means they will get rid of Helen.
Well, that was my fear, was because she's so tiny.
I'm going to flip and then say Bruce and Helen go out in the first episode. One on a medical, one on a vote out. All right. Well,
because Carolyn is a big woman. She's very tall, and she's as tall as Sarah.
I still can't tell if that's the case or not. I still kind of think Sarah's bigger.
Well, Sarah may be some bigger, but certainly they're both all bigger than Helen.
Yeah.
They're all taller than Helen, and
Helen's closer to Carson.
Think she's she looks physically fit, so. But Carolyn's just a bigger woman, and you can tell she's got a go-getter, and I thought that's what might save her. But I don't want it to be Helen, so I'm going with Carolyn.
Yeah, Helen and Maddie, I'm going to call Maddie Mouse. They are small.
Why Maddie Mouse?
Well, I think she's going to be, she's not a Mighty Mouse. I think she's Maddie Mouse.
Okay, you're a nut job, but okay.
I think they're going to be in trouble in some of the challenges because they're so little. Maybe they'll decide to hold them back for the puzzles for that very reason. But they both seem to be pretty tiny, especially Maddie. I think Maddie may be the smallest one out there. Maddie Mouse. See, it totally works. I don't know what your problem is.
Alrighty. Hoi. Okay. Are you still keeping Matt for your USB, or have you wavered on that?
Definitely, folks injected some doubt into that, but I still think that's a good story. And so many of you, I can tell, I'm feeling it. I feel the momentum building behind Sarah are going to jump on the Sarah bandwagon that I may need to do something different.
Go away from my USB.
As I had told you, it was kind of a coin flip between Sarah and Matt when I was thinking about it, with it being a harder path for Matt to get there. But yeah, I'm still edging that way for right now. We'll see. Everybody gave me some good points to consider, so I might actually even consider alternatives based on what we heard today. Hey, we want to thank everybody who took the time to send in your thoughts and predictions on the new cast. This is fun. We know that it's almost always wildly incorrect, but it's a enjoyable task to go through. We look forward to it each season, and we've enjoyed getting to hear your take on it. Good job to everyone.
And if you're new to JSFL, you want to play in our fantasy league, you will need to register before the deadline of 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific Time on March 1st in order to play this season. The registration will then be closed. Be sure to read the official rules listed on the website so that you know how to play the game if you're new. And if you were playing JSFL at the end of last season, your information is still the same. Now, we don't have your records of your passwords and that kind of stuff, so if you don't have it, then you'll need to just re-register again, and then you can play before. Just get it all in and before the deadline of 7:30 Pacific Eastern Time on March 1st.
Everybody will need to select a USB 24. This is who you think is going to be the person to win this season to get that possible 24-point bonus if they do end up winning. Be sure to hit the submit button when you go to that screen and make your choice. We have people every season. Go to the screen.
I'm waiting for a season. Make it this season.
This could be the one that will go to the USB screen, and they'll select who they want to win, and then they'll click away from the screen without having hit the submit button down at the bottom. And they will not have one.
That's right.
So when you have selected one, your USB choice will be listed in bold print on the picks page.
Yeah, just go to the picks page if it's...
That's how you can confirm.
Yes, please check it.
And on the picks page, you'll need to choose who you think will be voted out first, which is for 2 points, and 4 people you think will be safe. They'll still be in the game after the 2-hour episode ends. Again, you have to hit submit once you make your choices. If there are 2 people voted off, we'll still only score first off. No points for medical evacs. Hey, I want to say something else about this. We're a small community, and that's fine. That's how we like it. We're a group of super fans over here in our corner of the Survivor world enjoying it. And we have this fantasy league that we believe makes it even more enjoyable, that ups the
and intense, for sure.
Yes, especially for folks like Joanne who get anxious making their picks. It can make it a more intense activity every week as it comes down to the deadline to make those choices. And to think about, how people are playing the game and try to guess who's going to do what and who's going to still be here at the end of the episode, that kind of thing. So what I want to say about that is that I don't know if there's spoilers for this season or not. I don't go looking for that stuff. But we ask that if you're someone who enjoys spoilers, maybe that's your thing, our fantasy league's not for you. We don't want people who are going and getting spoiler information to participate in the fantasy league. I know, asking that of someone who might enjoy spoilers and playing in the fantasy league, they might not match up exactly, but that's my request for everyone. It's just leave it spoiler free. Okay, there's the next on Survivor, there's the episode descriptions, there's press photos for the new episodes, things like that, commercials, all that stuff. That's fine looking at it. Sometimes they give you extra information, But
not much anymore.
But they did really well last season. We're asking that you don't go to the spoiler sites to get information and play in the fantasy league. Okay, thanks so much for honoring that. We appreciate it. So we've got a little leftover bit from last season's fantasy league that we need to take.
Little business,
that we need to take care of. So Parker won what we call the side challenge last season. And the way the side challenge works is that the person who has the lowest score has to create a parody song based on the events of that season and the song that the winner of the side challenge gets to choose.
Yes, and they have to write the parody and sing the song for us.
Yes. And Parker chose the song Bones by Imagine Dragons, and that was Cold Mike who came in last in the side challenge. And he's already put his hat back in the ring for the next one. How bold. And he's prepared a parody for season 43 to the song Bones. Is there anything else you want to say before we get to that?
No, roll it.
All right. So this one's called Alligabler Bones.
Give me some time to think. Landed on the beach, they're looking at me. Families all watching on TV. Woo! I see nose rings everywhere I look. Jesse's got a checklist, he looks like a crook. One's read a lot of peanut books. I'm hiding in plain sight. You don't need a flashlight. I'm hiding in plain sight. Will this be your last night? I stand back and watch it flow. I'm gonna flick that switch and go into metal mode. I am here to kill the king. He won't feel a thing. Now there's poison in his bones. Jesse needed to stick the dynamite. Maybe then he could get a light. While my sticks and made it ignite. Calls fake cries got the far. She's faster than always the peanut star. All the performance that was subpar. I'm hiding in plain sight. You don't need a flashlight. I'm hiding in plain sight. Will this be your last night? I stand back and watch it flow. I'm gonna flick that switch and go into metal mode. I am here to kill the king. He won't feel a thing. Now there's poison in his bones. Now there's poison in his bones. Tribal council, it was rough. The questions, they were tough. Had Alligabler done enough? Jeff showed up with the votes. I had a lump in my throat. Now the VA has more hope. I'm hiding in plain sight. You don't need a flashlight. I'm hiding in plain sight. Will this be your last night? I stand back and watch it flow. I'm gonna flick that switch and go into metal mode. I am here to kill the king. He won't feel a thing. Now there's poison in his bones.
Awesome.
All right. Good job.
Man, that turned out fantastic.
Yes, it did.
I love that. He even included a chord sheet with the song, with the lyrics and all the chords.
You've been playing it?
No. I just meant I'm going to include it. I've been listening to this. He did great. Hiding in plain sight. Working it all in, the poison, all those things that Alligabler said, and going into metal mode. Done.
Very creative. Good job.
You have paid your debt. I look forward to having you sing for season 44 too. This is going to be great. If you are brave, nay, fearless, like those of us who participate in the side challenge, we'd love to have you come join us. Got to be ready to sing if you lose, though.
Not me.
Send us an email before the first show airs on the East Coast on March 1st. Right now, we've got Cold Mike, Drew, Jeremiah, Justin, Lisa Ray, Rebecca, Robert, and me. You can leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547 or toll free 844-643-8737. You can record audio comments and send them to us, attach it and send it in an email, or type up a quick message and send it to us at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Is there anything we need to say? 4 days. We're on the 4-day countdown to the first episode.
No, I just want to take everything in and actually physically go make my picks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait till the last minute.
Yeah, the site's up.
Because we've had some bad weather, and I don't want to take a chance something will go wrong.
Yeah.
That's not in my control.
Yeah, I think, who was it? Jen was talking about the bad weather she was having down in South California. We had really rough weather here again, too, just like the way it was
snowing in Southern California.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like snow on the Hollywood
side. Snowed in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, here in Santa Cruz. Yeah, a lot of different places.
What is happening?
They called it low snow because it's so far down in elevation. So, yes, that's true. Get those picks in. Don't let the weather impact your enjoyment and getting your picks in for JSFL.
My fear.
Yes. Good deal.
No, I think that's it. We've probably talked enough.
Yes, everybody did a fantastic job, and we're looking forward to season 44 and enjoying that together here on Survivor Fans Podcast.
Yes, and remember to get both if you want the side challenge and if you want to play JSFL, get all your information entered before the show airs by 7:30 that night, March 1st.
That's East Coast time. If you're in Hawaii, that's what, 2:30?
I don't know what time. They'll have to figure that.
Yeah.
It's 4:30 here in Pacific time.
Yeah.
I think they're 2 hours.
2, yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours.
2:30?
Yeah.
There we go. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.